All right, y'all, time for something a little more traditional than the stuff maybe I've been reviewing before. A little opportunity came across on my usual rotation around the gun shops around town that I like to do. Because you never know what might pop up, right? And you don't know unless you go. So it's kind of bad for my wallet, but sometimes you find something nice. And the thing that we're going to cover today is this ugly duckling here, Jesus, the Beretta PX4 Storm. And the reason why I got this is because they were having a pretty good deal on these things at the store I was going to. These are basically brand new-ish, kind of. I'll explain that later. Models, full-size 9mm PX4s that are sitting there, and they were asking $450 for them. And to me, that is a deal even pre-pandemic times for one of these pistols, because normally I see these things go for $500 and up. So $450 for a new one of these, especially right now, I was like, dude, that's good. That's a good deal. I don't even need this pistol, but I've always been interested in it due to frankly, the strange design and also the rotating barrel mechanism in this thing. Also, it's a Beretta, so it's probably going to be pretty good. And I don't mind the DASA action of it and everything else. So I just thought, it's to me when I've shot 40 cal versions of this, it screamed to me perfectly serviceable pistol. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It'll do exactly what you need it to do. And yeah, it just works. So not really a whole lot of bad thing to say about it, but I've never actually owned one. So it was always kind of like in the back of my mind, just kind of like someday I'll get one, but not a huge priority. So I asked the guy there, hey, do you guys take anything in trade? And they said, yes, bring in whatever you got. So I looked over the inventory of things that I have and things that I rarely shoot. And one of the things I rarely shot was a SIG P250 in 45. And it was a full-size one, so it's a little big. And I just never really shot it that much because if I'm shooting 45, it's typically going through my USP or one of my 1911s. I don't typically put it in the 250. So I figured, you know what, I haven't shot this thing in like a year or two, so brought it to the store and see what he'd offer for it in trade towards this gun. And he gave me a pretty good price, so I ended up walking out that day with this one. And what I noticed is the reason why the prices were so low for these ones being brand new is that this was a demo gun. So demo guns, from my understanding, are the kind that they basically take to whatever demonstration that the company is doing, right? So if it's for like a police department to showcase capabilities, or if it's for some other customer, right? Or just sitting on a floor of a gun shop or a gun show, it's their like kind of display model that people can pick up and fondle, pull the trigger on and work the action and stuff like that. And the reason why I believe that it is a demo gun is one, it was pretty cheap. Two, there was a lot of pre-existing wear on the inside of the parts here, and the sliding barrel or rotating barrel mechanism in here, in the cam track. There was some wear in there already, which indicates to me someone was basically playing with the action a whole lot, dry firing the trigger, and doing all of that you would do with a demo gun. And then I also noticed as well on the breech face of the slide, there was very, very slight brass marks, which to me can mean it was test fired at the factory, or maybe it did some other firing at some other time, maybe for demo purposes. So it's not exactly a brand new gun, but it's close enough. So, and there's a lot of extra documentation that came in the box with this that basically said, this is from Italy. So this one is absolutely made in Italy, not in the United States, which I think is better, to be honest. At least my experiences with U.S. made Berettas have not been as good as the Italian ones. Let's just say that. I won't say bad, but not as good. So definitely happy with how this one turned out. So this one only came with 2 mags and all of the extra back straps, manual box, all that stuff that comes in your usual Beretta box. No big deal. So yeah, I picked it up and I was quite happy with it. When I took it apart, I was kind of it was kind of like surprising how this design is actually set up, because I've never taken one of these apart until I bought this one. So it takes apart a little bit like a Glock. You kind of pull down these little tabs right here. It looks kind of like a Glock almost. You just pull down on both sides and you just slide this right off. There you go. Pretty easy. And you can see the big old block in there that you would normally see for like a tilting barrel, but that's actually the bottom block where the cam track is, and also where the recoil spring sits. So yeah, taking this apart was pretty cool, just to see some kind of different method of pistol operation than your traditional Browning action tilt barrel thing. So, because the other guns that have rotary barrels, I think, is the Beretta or Cougar 8000 series. I believe that this gun was based off of. Also, the Steyr Hahn is the most oldest example I can think of that had a rotating barrel, so that's pretty cool. I've always wanted to get one of those, so I figured, hey, this is close enough mechanically speaking, right? Just to get an appreciation for how it shoots differently than your traditional Browning action. So it goes together just like that, super easy. Just basically what you'd expect of a modern pistol. Now, PX4s are interesting because in my opinion, they look kind of ugly. Like, they're definitely different. In the same kind of vein that the Steyr M9 L9 pistols, some people absolutely love the way they look and handle. Some people absolutely hate them. But there's not really like a middle ground of people who are like, man, it's okay. Usually it's the same way with the PX4. Either people absolutely love it or people absolutely hate it. So, but looks aren't everything, which is unusual for a Beretta because they're an Italian company. So you know how much Italians care about aesthetics, which is to say a lot. I mean, case in point, how long have they been keeping the 92 series going? I mean, look at this. Oh, fantastic. Just beautiful gun, right? But they didn't seem to care so much about aesthetics when it came to this one. So a little unusual, but yeah, this PX4 design is definitely one of the older ones. I think these originally came out in the mid to late 2000s. So it's been around a while, for sure. It's had a lot of time to prove itself, but it never really like quite took off or held the same kind of legendary status as the 92 series did. But so for a size comparison as well, because this gun is actually deceptively small and kind of short. So this is a Beretta 92X compact, which I still need to review as well. So you can kind of get an idea for like the size differences here. They're almost the same. So, but the grip on this one is actually pretty dang good. I have to say. A lot of people say that the texturing on the grip here, like on this side and the other side, are kind of minimal. They say, oh, it's too smooth. I don't like that very much. But in shooting this, I actually found it to not be an issue at all. The checkering that they provide on the back strap and the front strap are sufficient enough to keep your hand in place while you're shooting. It never felt like this thing was wiggling out of my hand or getting way out of control. So I didn't see a problem with it. So ergonomically speaking, I think this thing is very, very well set up. My only gripe I did have with it is the slide-mounted safety decocker, right? Normally, I don't have a problem with these, especially on the 92 series, because my thumb is able to reach right there, and it's able to put it on and off pretty easy. So that's never been a problem for me. But on the PX4, it's just ever so slightly too tall for my knuckle of my thumb here to basically reach that effectively. So I have to use the tip of my thumb here to activate the slide-mounted safety, which I don't know. This design is not really my favorite. I really wish it was sitting just a hair lower on the slide, or maybe even go to a frame-mounted safety. Who knows? But it's still functional in the fact that, like, if you're decocking this gun, that's going to be an administrative function anyway, so you're going to have all the time in the world to do that. It's not a big deal. Just this is, of course, a Type F style as well, so it's not the G model, where G model, everyone knows, it's decocker only, there's no safety, whereas this can stay on safe just like that, the Type F. So got to remember to put it back on fire, but I'm so used to doing that with the 92 pistols that it's no big deal to me. So manual of arms is very, very similar to 92 series. The trigger also, to me, when I was shooting it, it felt almost exactly like shooting a 92 trigger. I think in a lot of ways, actually, they took almost all of the design elements from a 92 trigger and just put it in a polymer frame for this gun, and redesigned it slightly because there's like a modular trigger package back here in the frame. But firing it definitely, like the trigger pull and the weight and how it feels and the reset and everything else felt very, very similar to a 92 series pistol. So definitely felt familiar, and I quite enjoyed that because the 92 trigger is not a bad trigger at all. So if you're going to copy something or redo something that you've already designed, you might as well use the one that's good, right? The slide stop and release lever is appropriately large and fits my hand quite well. I'm able to put my thumb right there, so whenever I insert a mag, I'm able to just press down on that, and it's very smooth and very easy to actuate in both directions. So, magazine release, the button looks a little tiny. It looks a little bit out of the way, like look how much that sticks up. It's a little, like, I don't know. You think it would be a little bit more obtrusive than it is, but it's actually not. It's perfectly sized. Magazines tend to shoot out pretty well. They just fall right out, no big deal. Never had an issue with that, so that's good. Unfortunately, the PX4 does not use the same magazines as the 92, and that is unfortunate because I've looked at a billion 92 magazines, but I only have 2 for the PX4 here. Not like they're really hard to find or anything, but I just wish I was able to have that kind of backwards mag compatibility. That'd be super nice. Yeah, so I will say the barrel on these is a little bit shorter than I'd like. I really wish they had maybe like a 5 or 4.5 inch barrel version, like a long slide version of one of these things that stuck out a little more. Because to me, I like having longer barrels on my guns. I mean, this is only a compact size, but it's still, you know, just a touch hair longer than the PX4. And this is a full-size one, so not even the compact. The compact's even smaller. So something like in the P30L size is kind of my favorite size of handgun to shoot. You know, 1911 style, you know, with the 5-inch barrel and everything. It just feels the most balanced to me if I'm going for a full-size pistol. But there are certain advantages to having a shorter barrel like this, and that is just the compactness of it, the nature of it, right? So this will come in and out of a holster a lot faster than something with a longer barrel because you got to clear the holster and pull it all the way out and then out. Versus this one is much, much shorter. You're able to get it into action just a hair faster. So definitely something I noticed with my revolvers, because when I was carrying my Colt Trooper, which has a 6-inch barrel, versus my 586 with a 4-inch barrel, the draw time from the holster was noticeable, to say the least. So it's not all bad to have a short barrel. The benefits of having a longer barrel as well as a longer sight radius, which means you're going to be able to produce more accuracy more easily at longer distances, which is something I care about because I like making tiny groups in paper at long range. But this one is definitely no slouch. So when I was shooting this thing, I had all kinds of different ammunition types to test out of my currently limited stash of 9mm, because we're all feeling the crunch and the bite right now of ammo shortage. But I took it out anyway. I put about 160 something rounds through this in the one sitting I had. And this thing proved to be just as accurate as basically everything else I have, which is to say it was able to get like a 2.5-inch group at 25 yards using some nicer ammo. So quite happy with how this turned out. Like I said, when I first shot these in 40 cal a long time ago as a rental gun, the idea that this is a perfectly serviceable handgun remains true even for this one. Nothing's changed in my opinion about that. These are absolutely fantastic. Perfectly serviceable. They'll do everything you need them to do. Nothing wrong with them at all. So it shot very well. I was happy with the trigger pull, the accuracy. Recoil management was a little interesting because the marketing kind of description for these, because they have a rotating barrel, said that the recoil is reduced by however many percent they say, or it's a different recoil impulse versus a tilting barrel, which it is. And people who have shot 92 pistols will tell you the same thing. Because of how the barrel and slide design is, it's more of a straight back than a tip up kind of flippy muzzle action than a Browning action does. These are more straight back, and I will say this one was also kind of a straight back, but also a little bit of a twist with the direction of the barrel and how it twists. Like you can definitely feel it a little bit. It's gonna move. I forget which way it is, but yeah, you're definitely going to feel a little bit of impulse towards that direction because, I mean, it is rotating, so it's going to apply that force in that direction. So, but overall recoil control for this, this was a very, very smooth shooting pistol, like just very much akin to a 92, like in levels of recoil, right? So 115 grain, absolute pussycat out of this gun. I fed it some leftover plus P plus 115 grain stuff, so it's really, really smoking hot. Like, I mean, about as hot as I've seen for 9mm. It fed through this just fine. There was noticeably a little bit more recoil, obviously, compared to regular 115 grain, but very, very controllable with this gun. It wasn't like jumping out of my hand. My ability to do double taps was just fine. This would make a really good cop gun, I think. So even with hot ammo, this thing handled recoil very, very well. I think even better than a 92 would, and certainly better than a traditional Browning design barrel. So quite happy with that. The things they say about recoil management with these guns is true. I felt it myself, experienced it, because a lot of cases when you hear things like that, it's like, is that really true? Or how much does it matter? Or does it really reduce recoil that much? Or, kind of like when I was reviewing the P30L, it has the that kind of buffer thing in the recoil spring, and HK says it reduces recoil and all that. But it kind of did. But this one is definitely more noticeable than that. So quite happy with how that turned out. Unfortunately, though, that means this thing will never have a threaded barrel and will not be able to accept a suppressor due to the nature of the twisty motion of the barrel, which is what I've been told. I know there are some variants that do have suppressors. I don't know how well they work, and they're not exactly common. So I'm not really going to bother with it and lose sleep over it. It's cool to suppress everything, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it either if I can't. So overall, it really does feel like someone basically took the 92 kind of style and feel of things and just put it in a polymer frame and then gave it a rotating barrel. That's basically what this feels like. I know there was a polymer framed kind of sort of Beretta 92. It's literally called the 92, but it's spelled out instead of having the numbers. I know that exists, and that one looks super cool to me. Maybe one day I'll get one. But yeah, they basically took a 92 and gave it a polymer frame. Those didn't last very long for whatever reason, but these are certainly a suitable replacement, upgrade even, to a 92, because it really does feel almost exactly the same as it. Maybe not in terms of the grip, but like I said, the trigger, the controls, the recoil, impulse, accuracy, performance, reliability, all that stuff, just as good as a 92, which is to say, excellent. So yeah, very happy with this pistol. It's really a nice do-all general purpose pistol. So if you're ever thinking about getting one of these, or you just see them on the shelf and you're like, man, that's an ugly gun, or I don't like that so much, or that's kind of weird. It more than makes up for it. I think it really does. So I would feel confident carrying this, open carry, concealed carry, however kind of carry you want. So I would definitely be okay if someone offered this to me instead of a 92 series or an M9 pistol. If I had to go on deployment with one of these things, yeah, I'd feel totally fine taking it. Yeah, no problem. So, and even according to Beretta's own literature, they put like 150,000 rounds through one pistol or something like that. Something crazy like that. Whether or not that's true, it's up for you to believe. But everything I've seen with these pistols, I've really not heard anything bad about them. So I'm inclined to believe that's true, or mostly true, anyways. So, yeah. Happy with the purchase, happy with how it turned out. I definitely recommend the PX4s. They're cool. Just watch out for the subcompact versions, because the subcompacts do not have a rotating barrel. They have a traditional Browning tilting action barrel. So a little weird there. They do that with the subcompacts, but I guess there wasn't enough room in the action to make that work on a subcompact. So, but yeah, it's just another solid pistol from Beretta. So no disappointments there. So anyway, just thought I'd share that, and someday I will get to reviewing this 92X compact that I have here, because it's quite a story with this one. But yeah, solid design. I like it. So all that, and yeah, that's all I gotta say, and we'll see you next time.